Hey guys, just wanted to start a new video here to show a little bit of how to mock up for a Sublimation mousepad. As you can see, I do use Silhouette Studio for these mock-ups. So we're going to go through the process of how I create my mock-ups for the individual mousepads that we're going to do. So this is going to be the mousepad that we actually sublimate and we're going to make the mock-up for, but I'm going to walk you through step by step on how I created this. So one of the things that we'll go ahead and do is we'll start with a new tab. What I always like to do is create a text box that shows my measurements for my mouse pads or whatever I'm sublimating. So for my particular mouse pads, we're looking at 9.5 wide and 8 tall so that we can go ahead and have our measurements listed on the screen here. And of course, I'm going to color that so that it does show up for us very well. So what we're going to do is we will go ahead and at that point just highlight it and of course color it so that we always have that guide of what we're looking at doing. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and draw a square box. So with this square box, we're then going to go ahead and be sure we click our cursor and click on our box, and then we're going to come over here on the right hand side to the adjustments tab. Then we're going to go ahead and make this adjustment to our measurements that we just set up, which are the 9.5 wide and the 8 tall. We're going to see that our box is going to go ahead and adjust to this. Now this is going to be the exact size of your mouse pad. What I recommend for sublimation is go ahead and add a 1/4 inch all the way around. So we'll make that 9.75 by 8.25. That's going to go ahead and give you your outer edges so that you can line it up and you're going to know for sure that you have enough coverage for your mouse pad itself. Now the next thing I do is I always rotate my mouse pad print over to where it's going to fit on my paper. So you're always going to notice that the mouse pads that I do are going to show a little bit sideways, of course, just as the main page shows here. This is only because I can print the maximum amount on a piece of paper that way, and it's actually going to save me product in the future. So the next part that we have to do is we need to go ahead and work on filling our design in for the background of this particular mouse pad. Now, what we'll do is I use some of the different fill patterns, or I'll import my own fill patterns from Silhouette Studio or purchase from the Silhouette Studio store, commercial use, of course, for these videos and also for the products that I sell on Etsy, Facebook, and different methods that way also. So if we want to go ahead and use the chevron pattern, of course, we have that available. We can do polka dots, we can do stripes, so on and so forth. For this example, what I actually want to do is I want to make a rustic wood one. So we then have our rustic wood mouse pad here. This rustic wood is going to show beautifully with a black or a colored background. So then what we're going to do is we have this available. So we're going to go ahead and send this to back so that any text that we put over this is going to actually show. So let's say your text that you want to have on here, you're going to select through your fonts. You're going to pick which font that you want, which one that you really like. So let me just scroll through here and we'll find us a font that we really like. For this particular project. Now, each person is going to be different with the fonts that they do and don't like, of course, so my preference may be something a little different from what you use as well. So I really like this font for a lot of things. It's probably not going to do very well for what we're looking for, but that is one of my favorite fonts. So let's go ahead and what we'll do is we'll type out what we want it to say, and I'll fast forward through this part of the video. We'll type out what we want to say, and then we'll select our font so that we can then choose and place our font at the end. So as you can see, we're just going to use just something that I come up with off the top of my head here from a verse that I had read. And then we're going to just pick one of our fonts that we do like. Again, this is for personal use. It's going to be one that I use for my actual mouse pad. So you may see me choose a personal use font. That's only because again, I'm going to be using this for me. It's not something that I'm going to have for sale or anything of that nature. So I'm just scrolling through here and really trying to figure out which font that I like the best for what we're doing. So let's see here. And then, of course, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to center my text so that it just looks a little better as well. Now, at this point, we're going to be able to go ahead and choose a color that we like for our font. This is a darker background, so I do recommend going a little lighter with font colors, only because they're going to show up better on this particular background. One of my absolute all-time favorite colors is blue or orange, so you'll probably see me use that in quite a few of my videos. Because it is my favorite color. So when we're looking at this, me personally, I think the blue is going to look a little better on this particular mouse pad. So then we're just going to adjust our font to make it fit our mouse pad and make it to where we're happy with it. Again, this is going to be something that we want to make sure that when we are adjusting, we're going no larger than our original text over here for the 9.5 wide, 8 tall. We want to make sure that we do keep it within that parameter. Otherwise, it's not going to go onto our mouse pads as well. You're going to have overhang, you're going to have missing letters, you're going to have all this different things that you're going to have to fight with if we don't keep it within the parameters of the actual mouse pad itself. Because remember, we made our box a little larger just so we could ensure coverage. So now whenever I look at this, I can move the box out of the way, and I can look at this, and I can see that I am 7.169 by 10.710. So I am too wide for the particular design that we're looking at here. Now, what we have to keep in mind is whenever we're doing these designs, it is taking into account all of this empty space on the sides. So general rule of thumb would be to grab the box that you originally made, come back over here to the Adjustments tab, and make it to match your mouse pad. So we're looking at 9.5 wide by 8 tall. If your text then fits inside of that, then of course you are good to go. Now another thing that you want to make sure that you're doing, even if I'm working with sublimation and not vinyl, is I do try to weld the text because of these overlapping lines. I don't like the overlapping lines at all to show. So then I weld it and then I group it back together. And then we see that it's going to fit within my mouse pad. So what I would then do is come back over here to my mouse pad outer box, make that the 1/4 inch larger than what we have for the original mouse pad as well. That's going to make it to where we do have a mouse pad border that is larger, but then we're also going to be able to fit our text into that as well. So as you can see, doing this, it's very, very simple. You want to make sure that you do stay within your paper and you don't have any overhang, and then you're ready to print. One thing that I will say is I do use an Epson Workforce 7710, so we need to go in and make sure that our preferences are set. With our preferences, we want to go to more options and make sure that we have high speed on and we have mirror image checked as well. If we do not have mirror image checked, then whenever you print this, it's going to show this way, and then you're going to press it, and it's going to be reversed, and you're not going to be able to read that. So we need to make sure that we do mirror our image. Another thing that I always like to do is use the print preview, and the reason behind that is I can then hit print, and it's actually going to show me what it looks like before I actually do the actual print. So as you can see, it's loading here, and the print preview will pop up momentarily, letting us know what it's going to look like when it prints on our piece of paper. So I can see that every bit of my corners are within my lines. Everything is backwards because it is mirrored. So I know now that when I print this, it's perfectly fine. I'm ready to roll. There's not going to be any issues with it from the printing aspect or the design aspect. So again, this is Steve from Crafted Uniquely by Us. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. If you have any other questions, feel free to DM me on YouTube. Also, go ahead and click that subscribe button for us. This is how we continue to grow and continue to make new steps and new bounds to create these videos for you. Thanks a bunch, guys, and I look forward to our next video together.